So I want to use a portion of this episode to really, I guess, like provide a bit of like a masterclass on the mile, granted with like your experience, and also we get to tap into Kyle and some of his experience. So we'll start with some general questions, and we've pulled up some footage and some photos from over the years. What would you say is the best mile race that you've ever run? It doesn't necessarily have to be the fastest or one that you've won, but I guess like tactically and taking various things into consideration, what do you think is your best ever mile race run?
I think it's a tie between two races, one indoor and one outdoor. And that's probably appropriate because I view my mile running as a two-season thing. The 2008 Prefontaine Classic, I sort of surprised myself suddenly with 300 meters to go. I was like, wait a minute, I'm not tired anymore. And I made a big move down the back straight, only just getting past on the finish line, which was a bit gutting. So that was my first sort of like big time mile. And then a couple of years later, 2015, it was my first time ever coming down from altitude in an indoor season and going straight from altitude and hitting the track at sea level. And it really lived up to everything that I hoped. And like, I just never got tired in that race. And I think we were running moderate splits. But then the last 200, I think I ran a 26 flat for the last 200 and ran a 351 on the. What do you think, Kyle? Is Reggie Lewis a very fast track?
It's probably not the fastest one in Boston, but it is a nice track.
It's a nice-ish track, but yeah, I would say that's worth a 349, 348 on a BU surface for sure. To run 351 on the Reggie Lewis is easily several seconds faster somewhere else.
Yeah, it's always a good atmosphere there, though. So that might be worth a second or two back.
And what I loved
Nick,
about it is they would open the back doors there behind my head, so it was nice and cool in the building. Like that's my one pet peeve with the Armory is it gets really hot in there, and you get like terrible track hack after the race.
yeah, no, I mean, I would say the first indoor race every single season, that's part of the game. But by the end of the season, you generally kind of like get used to it, and your body's adapted. It's kind of like altitude in that way.
Yeah.
So Nick, yeah, I saw that race at the Prefontaine, and I see you making a really big move on the back straightaway with about 250 meters to go. People say in the 800, you really only get one move. What about in the mile? How many moves do you get?
You probably get one like positional move and then one kick. I normally like to use my positional move on the penultimate lap, like with like 1,000 meters to go. Normally, on that particular race, I made my move at the 800-meter mark to get into position. I went from being at the back to more in the middle of the pack. Um, yeah, I don't. Maybe you've got another room for a move in the first 200 meters as well. So maybe there's like a starting rate and then the middle, and then your kick as well. So there's a little bit more wiggle room to play with.
What's the latest you've ever kicked?
Against Craig Mottram in the Mayoral Mile in Wanganui, New Zealand. It was basically a one-on-one race, and my coach said, no matter what you do, don't try and get past him until 50 meters to go. Like, let him kick first, and then you're like, wait till he's gone, and then you can counter it. So I basically did like a juke with 50 meters to go and stepped out, and then managed to take down the Aussie in my home country. So that was a big race for me as well. That's probably one of the most satisfying mile I've ever run. It may not be the best, but the most satisfying.